Hello, I'm Angie, and this is Music Mentality. And before we begin, I just wanted to mention that the themes I'm going to be talking about are depression, anxiety, and mental health. So I just wanted to introduce the show and who I am. First and foremost, I am a musician. I've been playing piano since I was 4 years old. I've been teaching piano, composing, and improvising my whole life. I believe that those who don't like music just haven't found their sound yet. Music is everywhere, and our lives literally have soundtracks. The second thing is that I am a hardcore mental health advocate. Mental health is very real and very much so alive, and it comes from a long and ugly history of oppression through racism, sexism, homophobia, classism, ageism, ableism, and so on, which is why it's so important for us to have these open-hearted discussions so that we can begin healing as a community, so we can see and hear each other out. And the goal of this podcast is to learn through other artists' experiences facing these different mental health challenges and how music has carried them through them. For me personally, I have found myself using music as my coping mechanism for as long as I can remember. I've gone through many changes and difficulties in my life. Difficulties staying focused, feeling like I had no one to turn to, walking around with this knot in my stomach and lump in my throat, thinking I had to hide it from everyone, being afraid of being a burden, finding myself having bad anxiety attacks. Today, I suffer from chronic migraines, which can be so debilitating. Kind of self-diagnosed with ADHD, and at one point I did have depression. There are moments in my life that I truly didn't think that I would see the next day, but throughout it all, music has always been my strongest source of stability. For a little bit more background about myself, I graduated from the University of Ottawa in political science. I originally went into the program, which was at the time political science and Juris Doctor, intending to pursue a path in law. I failed to get into law school over 0.5%, unfortunately, and this was so heartbreaking. That heartbreak, though, it led me to reignite my love for mental health, which prompted me to go into psychology. This was a difficult decision to make because my odds were kind of like, it felt like my odds were pinned against me. I had to make so many sacrifices to let go of making my parents happy with law school and instead choosing me. Now that kind of has evolved into wanting to pursue a career in music with the idea of mental health advocacy involved. Anyways, to make long story short, I decided to graduate and come back to pursue my second degree, which I'm now finishing up in psychology. Let me tell you though, the heartbreak of not getting into law school was only comparable to one other moment in my life, which was the heartbreak of failing my 10th and final level of piano when I was doing exams. I had failed level 10 twice. The first time due to a lack of practice, but the second time, I had practiced every day for 7 to 9 hours. I did not skip a beat. I dedicated myself, and they say, when you practice, you get perfect. If you try your best, if you dedicate it and commit, you will succeed. I did not. I failed that second time too. And the worst part is that I failed the second time with the same mark as I failed the first time when I didn't practice at all. I was furious. I was so angry with the piano. I was angry with music. I was angry with myself. I felt defeated. I didn't look, let alone play that piano for 7 months. A piano that I once considered an extension of my body. I felt like the world was so unfamiliar and dark and pointless, but when I finally sat down again, I realized that when I left the piano and music for all those months, I also left a part of myself behind. It was through this experience that I realized who I really was. I can easily say that if I had to go back and pick one moment in my life that I'm most grateful for, it has got to be failing my 10th level of piano. That along with sitting down at the piano the first time when I was 4 years old. But when I re-experienced that heartbreak after not getting into law school, during that time of heartbreak and sadness, music became my main source of comfort and stability. I couldn't focus on anything in school. I wasn't capable of loving myself. I wasn't able to see the bigger picture. I was so consumed with my failure. And music was the only thing that I could turn to that I knew would always be there for me as long as I allowed it to be. Music was and still is the one thing that I can actually, I'm pretty sure it's the only thing that I can sit down and focus on for hours. Music is truly, truly my home. There were so many songs that related to how I was feeling, so many artists who have gone through similar experiences and shared those feelings in their music. There was so much encouragement and so many tears delivered through that music that I got to share with the artists just by listening to their music. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Being able to deliver your vulnerability through such an art, allowing listeners to share that love or that pain. It's like building connections even though you may not personally know the person on the other end of your earphones. Anyways, I can go on all day about the ways that music has helped me, but I wanted to provide a safe and welcoming space for other artists to dive into how their music, whether it be writing or playing covers or just improvising, how their music has played a role in their mental health journeys. I feel like a lot of people can gain inspiration from hearing each other's stories and remembering that they aren't alone. That whatever it is they may be facing, they can overcome it, and that one of the best things you can do is to be vulnerable with yourself. Be honest, be kind, be gentle with yourself, because mental health wellness does look different on everyone, but it's something that we all have. We all have mental health. And at one point or another, most people will find themselves in a dark place where they might feel helpless or hopeless. And music is just one of the many ways to cope with that dark place. It's one of the ways to be vulnerable, to be angry or happy or sad or cry or laugh or experience any emotion. So this is Music Mentality, the podcast that interviews artists on how music has shaped their mentality through their mental health journeys. This is a safe, judgment-free space for both guests and listeners to come as they are and be proud of who they are, celebrate how far they've come, celebrate who they are. And I'm so excited to build this community with you all.